This is Martin Giles of the Guildford Dragon News, and this morning I'm with the council leader at Surrey County Council, Tim Oliver, and two leading opposition members, Will Forster from the Liberal Democrats and Nick Darby from the Independent Group. And we're here to discuss the proposed county deal that's being put forward by Surrey County Council and has been the subject of a leaked document to the Guildford Dragon. Good morning, gentlemen. Thank you for joining the Guildford Dragon this morning. And we're going to start, Tim, by asking you to, in a minute, please, to give a summary of the advantages of the proposal that you're working on. So if you could start now, that would be great.
Okay, thank you very much. First of all, I would say this isn't a leaked document. The document was sent to all members of the County Council, and indeed it's been circulated, I believe, to all borough councillors. And it's the start of a journey of a conversation with government following on the Prime Minister's announcement on the 15th of July, where he set out his vision for levelling up. And part of that levelling up, which will be more detail will appear in the white paper at the end of next month, includes county deals, and it's about giving counties the same powers as the metro mayors. This is about devolving powers from central government down to local government. This is nothing to do with the topic of unitarisation or in any way impinges on district and boroughs. It is about giving local government here more control over the levers that will help us to grow our economy, tackle health inequalities, deliver on our greener future, and support and engage with our communities.
Thank you. That's great. Thank you for keeping to time. And now, Nick, I'll come to you as you're the leader of the opposition at Surrey County Council, or in fact, you're representing the leader of the opposition at Surrey County Council. So perhaps you could respond now, and you've got 45 seconds to do that.
Thank you, Martin. So what is in this for the residents of Surrey? We must put residents first. Don't we need to concentrate on tackling our existing issues, adult social care, children's services, highways, attracting employees to work in Surrey? And what are the costs involved, and where is the detail? You want an ability to raise money. That means tax increases, business rates, the system already under threat, council tax, issues of affordability, tourist tax may be unintended consequences. The Surrey Forum looks to me to be a multi-member talk shop. I have a real query over accountability, not just on this, but overall, particularly the need to work with the boroughs and districts. And finally, at what stage will the proposals be put to the electorate?
Thank you very much. And we'll now to you, just reset. Okay, yes, if you could start, please, Will.
Thank you, Martin. The Lib Dems and I would welcome real localism. The UK is one of the most centralised countries in the world. So actually central government devolving powers down locally would be great. But this isn't about that. This aim is not about localism. This seems about centralisation. Surrey having all the power, and it's just a power grab. So that is our concern. If this was such a good thing for Surrey, why would the leader of the council write to the government secretly, unilaterally, without discussing with councillors? I think the fact that this bid has been borne out of secrecy is not helpful. The fact that we've got potential planning policies that could increase our housing targets rather than reduce them. The fact there could be new taxes.
Okay, well, thank you. That's your 45 seconds. Thank you. Okay, so if I can kick off, Tim, with a question to you. Where's the mandate for this proposal? There was no mention of it in the election campaign in May. Why is that?
Because this is an initiative led by the Prime Minister. On the 15th of July, he made the announcement that county deals would be available. We were invited to submit an expression of interest. There's nothing secret about that. That expression of interest went in, and we have put in a paper. The leader of the Surrey leaders, the chair of the Surrey leaders, Jos Bigmore, joined me on the call with government officials when we discussed that expression of interest. So there's been nothing secret about this at all. This is something that the government are pursuing. There will be more detail in the devolution and levelling up white paper. Yeah, I am ambitious for our residents of Surrey. and the more control that we can have locally over the things that will make a difference to their lives and their livelihoods, to me, that is what this is about.
So there we are, Nick. Nothing secret about it at all. It's all above board. Do you agree?
It may not have been secret as such, but it wasn't an electoral issue, and we could have had more information. As I've said, we do need to understand exactly what's involved. There's not a level of detail which I would wish to see. So although I'm perfectly happy to discuss it, obviously we're doing it now, and to look sensibly and without immediately damning the whole proposal, we do need to be very, very careful.
Okay. Tim, if I could ask you a follow-up question then. Now, your belief in the need for continued growth is well recorded, and it's reflected in the proposal. But we can't continue to grow forever, can we? Aren't some of our problems in Surrey actually caused by the population growth?
It's not about necessarily growing the population. It's about growing the economy. You know, we need to have a strong local economy. We need to reskill and upskill people, you know, where those jobs, particularly around the aviation industry, that will take some time to come back. You know,
but isn't economic growth and population growth, they are linked, aren't they? Because people are drawn to Surrey by our economy, partly at least. So we can't just separate the two. Isn't there a connection?
Well, there is a connection, and of course Surrey is the only county in the country that's a net contributor to the Exchequer, £7.5 billion a year, and we need to maintain that. The economy in Surrey has been in gentle decline over the last 6 or 7 years, so we need to do whatever it is to support that. The housing issues is a matter for the districts and boroughs. That's not something that the county gets involved in. But you know, there is a recognition that we do need more housing, but more importantly, we need the right sort of housing. We don't need, you know, big 5-bedroom properties. We need housing that is truly affordable, particularly for the next generation and for key workers.
Okay, Will, what's your response to that? What's the Liberal Democrat view on growth?
Well, we've got to have growth, but it's got to be sustainable growth. It's got to be environmentally focused growth, and I don't think this paper supports that at all. Tim highlights.
Sorry, Will. What does that mean? Sustainable growth? You know, I mean, how would it be different than the Conservative view of growth?
Well, if we're going to reduce our carbon emissions by the key dates of 2030, 2050, that's what I mean by sustainable growth. If we're continuing to grow our economy, but continue to cause us problems with the environment, that isn't acceptable. That isn't sustainable growth.
Okay, right, Tim. Coming back to you then, in the proposal, it talks about creating a Surrey spatial framework. How would that impact on a borough or district council's decision-making powers on planning applications?
It wouldn't. It wouldn't at all. They have and will retain, and there's no question about it, retain the statutory responsibility for producing a local plan and dealing with planning applications. What I'm suggesting is that we, as a county-wide, we the county, if that's the enabler, if it's us, that's absolutely fine. But all of the district and boroughs get in the room and have a conversation about where it may be possible to put housing in appropriate places, because I recognise completely that you know, without releasing green belts, it is almost impossible for the district and boroughs to deliver on their housing numbers. So let's have a look at it in a wider geographical area.
Nick, do you buy that? Do you think there'll be no interference in the borough and district council's planning processes?
I'm nervous that there may be, but I've got no difficulty with getting everyone together to look at strategic planning Surrey-wide. It's not just borough, say in my case, Elmbridge, maybe Spelthorne, maybe Waverley. It's not looking at individual housing numbers, it's looking at it Surrey-wide, as Tim has said, to make it affordable, to look at it for key workers, and also I think to coordinate the infrastructure, because I've heard so many times over the last 4 years, it's all very well building lots more houses, but actually getting that infrastructure together is really important. And I think there is a conversation to be had sensibly, everyone in the room, adult conversations together on how we do that and coordinate it well.
Okay. Now, Tim, in one part of the proposal, it says there aren't any extra funding requirements for this proposal, but it also outlines some extra tax raising powers that the Surrey County Council would obtain under the proposal. How do you square those two things? You will need extra money for this, won't you?
Not to deliver this. I mean, the government have made it clear that there would be no extra funding, whereas some of the previous deals that have involved mayors, there has been some long-term funding. That won't be the case with the county deals. So we're going to have to generate some savings. I mean, the district and boroughs have a list of areas that from a report they obtained last year, where there are suggestions in ways in which they can save money around shared services and so on. And the more we can do a county-wide waste contract, a county-wide grass cutting contract and so on, there are economies of scale. So I would encourage all of us to get together and find ways in which we can streamline those costs and efficiency. And that in part will then fund the investment back into some of these other ideas.
But you're talking about an additional council tax precept. What does that mean for the man on the street in Surrey?
It's talking about having the same powers as the mayor of Greater Manchester has, and so on. Whether we would need or use those powers is a different matter. Clearly, we have a national issue around the long-term sustainable funding of adult social care, we need more money. We're hoping that we will get money in the spending review and so on. But I suspect that in the past the government have looked to councils to put on a precept in part to cover that cost. All we're asking for is that we have the same powers as exist in other mayoral authorities, and then it is for us to justify any local taxation, council tax and beyond.
Okay.
We do that at the ballot box.
Thank you. Will, do you buy that? Do you think that this isn't going to impact on the poorer members of our communities in Surrey, and that they'll be having to foot the bill in some way for this?
Well, no, I don't buy that. Council tax is a very aggressive form of tax. It hits poorer people, pensioners, and those on fixed incomes the most. If new taxes are going to be levied, actually, they should be on the income tax side rather than on the punishing side of council tax. Surrey has got a history of continuously increasing its council tax by the maximum it's legally allowed to. So I do fear for residents and businesses, if Surrey is allowed to raise even more money, they will go up to the maximum they're allowed.
Okay, well,
did that last year, Will.
Well, gentlemen, obviously there's a lot of meat in this proposal, and we only have a short time to discuss it. But I'm going to give you each now just an opportunity to summarise again your position on this. And Tim, perhaps you could start by stating what the expected timetable is for the proposal.
So, I mean, there have been no detailed discussions now with government. My expectation is that there will be a devolution and levelling up white paper published at the end of October, and that will start to flesh out the sorts of proposals that the government will run with. So for me, the county council has 4 areas of focus. It is about growing a sustainable economy so that everybody can benefit. It is about tackling health inequality. It is about delivering our greener future carbon targets, carbon neutral. I agree with Will. Housing needs to be sustainable from a carbon perspective, and it is about really building on that community spirit that we've seen during the pandemic. All this does, all our proposal does, is seek from government further powers to enable us to deliver those key areas.
Thank you, Nick. Is your group dead set against this, or against some of the detail? What would be your group's position when you debate this?
I think it's fair to say that our group is nervous about what the outcome of this is. I've said that before. Not dead set against anything. I think it's absolutely right. As I said already, we put our residents first, look at what's best for them, always doing that. And if that means making changes, then we will look carefully at those proposals and make our decisions based on what we believe residents want and what they are saying to us or at the door or wherever.
Thank you. And Will, some have said this is another stab at unitary authority by the back door. Is that the Liberal Democrat view?
I fear that this could be a unitary authority by the back door. Surrey County Council spent last summer focusing on unitary authority. This summer they seem to focus on a county deal. Without a mandate, without a discussion or a consultation, they're bidding for more powers. If this was genuinely about localisation, great. But why aren't powers being handed back down to the boroughs and districts? They're not. This is a power grab, plain and simple.
Okay, well, gentlemen, thank you all very much for your time this morning, and thank you for giving concise answers as I requested.
Thank you, Martin.
Thank you. Thanks, Martin.
Thanks, Martin.